I never believed in the old stories until the night I met the wicked queen. My village, deep in the heart of Africa, was a place of peace. We lived simple lives, fishing in the river and farming in the fields. But we had one rule: never go near the abandoned palace in the forest. The palace once belonged to Queen Naoka, known for her beauty and cruelty. People said she made deals with dark spirits, trading her soul for power. When she was overthrown, the forest swallowed her palace, and no one dared to go near it. They said the spirits still roamed there, hungry for new victims. One evening, I was out late, looking for my lost goat. The sun had already set, and the forest was darker than I had ever seen. I knew I was close to the palace but hoped to find my goat quickly and leave. Suddenly, I heard a faint bleating and followed the sound. There it was, my goat, tangled in some vines near the palace gates. As I freed my goat, a chill ran down my spine. I felt eyes watching me. Turning around, I saw a figure in the shadows. She was beautiful, just like in the stories, but her eyes were empty, like dark holes. It was Queen Naoka. "You should not be here," she whispered, her voice like the rustle of dead leaves. "But now that you are, you must help me." I was terrified, but I couldn't move. She glided closer, her feet not touching the ground. "I need your help to break free from this place," she said. "I need your life." Before I could run, she reached out and touched my forehead. My body felt heavy, like I was sinking into the earth. She began to chant in a language I didn't understand. The air around us grew cold, and shadows twisted and danced. I knew I was going to die. Desperation gave me strength, and I pushed her away with all my might. She screamed, a sound that echoed through the forest, and vanished into the darkness. I ran, not stopping until I was back in the village. The elders found me the next morning, passed out at the edge of the forest. When I told them what happened, they looked grave. "Queen Naoka's curse is still strong," one of them said. "You are lucky to be alive." Since that night, I was never the same. My hair turned white, and I aged rapidly. The village looked at me with a mix of fear and pity. They knew I had encountered the wicked queen and survived, but at a cost. The elders decided to hold a meeting. They needed to find a way to protect the village from the queen's curse. But deep down, we all knew it was only a matter of time before she struck again. Word spread to neighboring villages, and a seer came to visit. She was known for her wisdom and ability to communicate with spirits. The elders hoped she could provide answers or a way to lift the curse. The seer examined me and listened to my story. She performed rituals and spoke with the spirits. After hours of chanting, she told us that Queen Naoka's spirit was restless because of unfinished business. Only a brave soul could venture back into the forest and uncover the truth. Among the villagers, a young hunter named Kofi volunteered to face the queen. He was brave and skilled, known for his fearlessness in the face of danger. Kofi believed that he could succeed where others had failed. The elders gave him their blessings, and the seer provided him with charms for protection. Kofi promised to return with the truth and hopefully, a way to end the queen's curse. As he set off into the forest, we all prayed for his safe return. Kofi's journey through the forest was treacherous. The deeper he went, the darker it became. Strange noises echoed around him, and shadows seemed to move on their own. The charms he carried glowed faintly, offering some comfort. After hours of walking, he reached the palace gates. The air was thick with tension, and he could feel the presence of the queen. Summoning his courage, Kofi stepped inside, determined to uncover the secrets that bound the wicked queen. Inside the palace, Kofi found himself in a grand hall covered in dust and cobwebs. The walls were lined with old tapestries depicting the queen's reign. As he moved through the corridors, he felt the cold gaze of unseen eyes watching him. In the throne room, he saw her, Queen Naoka, sitting on her throne, as if waiting for him. Her beauty was still haunting, but her eyes were filled with sorrow. She spoke to Kofi, revealing that her curse was a result of betrayal and dark magic. Queen Naoka told Kofi about her past. She had been a powerful ruler but made a pact with dark spirits for immortality and power. However, the spirits deceived her, binding her soul to the palace and cursing her to eternal unrest. The queen's only hope for redemption was to break the curse by finding the descendant of the one who betrayed her. Kofi realized that this quest would require him to delve into the village's history and uncover secrets long buried. Kofi returned to the village with the queen's story. The elders were shocked but understood the gravity of the situation. They needed to identify the betrayer's descendants and bring them to the palace to break the curse. Through old records and stories passed down generations, they discovered that the betrayer was a former advisor to the queen. His descendants still lived in the village, unaware of their ancestors' deeds. The search began to find the one who could end the curse. The elders identified a young woman named Oma as the descendant. She was kind-hearted and well-respected in the village. When told of her ancestors' betrayal, she was horrified but agreed to help break the curse. Oma and Kofi prepared to journey back to the palace. The seer provided them with new charms and blessings, hoping that their combined strength would be enough to free Queen Naoka's soul. Together, they set off into the forest, determined to face whatever awaited them. Oma and Kofi arrived at the palace gates. As they entered, the air grew colder, and shadows seemed to close in around them. Queen Naoka awaited them in the throne room, her eyes filled with a mix of hope and fear. Oma stepped forward, ready to confront the queen and break the curse. She recited the words given to her by the seer, invoking the spirits and calling for the end of the queen's torment. The palace trembled, and a dark mist began to rise. The seer's instructions were clear. Oma had to perform a ritual to free the queen's soul. She lit candles and drew symbols on the ground, chanting the ancient words passed down by the elders. The air crackled with energy as the spirits gathered. Queen Naoka watched, her form flickering between the beautiful queen and a tormented spirit. As Oma's chanting reached a crescendo, the dark mist enveloped the room, and the spirit's whispers grew louder. The ritual was working, but the struggle was far from over. The light dissipated, and the palace grew silent. Queen Naoka's form lay crumpled on the ground, her beauty restored but her life fading. She looked at Oma and Kofi with gratitude. "Thank you," she whispered. "You have freed me." With those words, Queen Naoka's spirit ascended, leaving behind a sense of peace. The palace began to crumble, the curse lifting at last. Oma and Kofi knew they had succeeded, but the cost had been great. Oma and Kofi returned to the village, carrying the weight of their journey. The elders and villagers welcomed them as heroes, but the experience had changed them. They knew the forest would no longer be haunted, and Queen Naoka's story would be remembered as a tale of redemption. The seer confirmed that the curse was lifted, and the village could finally live in peace. Oma and Kofi shared their story, ensuring that future generations would remember the lessons learned and the bravery shown.